What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Flame Entertainment and Sports. Hope you guys are doing good out there. It's your boy Rob here. Make sure to keep up with us on Instagram and TikTok at the Flame_ES. On today's show, we're gonna cover some, stories as always in the entertainment world. Starting off with Justin Bieber, as a lot of people are talking right now because Bieber has recently unfollowed Usher, who of course was known as the person who discovered him and who helped, get him famous. Then we're also gonna get into some relationship talk as Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman, who starred on the Broadway musical The Music Man together a couple of years ago. They've officially come out as a couple. Now we're also going to get into some Dancing with the Stars talk, as the Dancing with the Stars tour for 2025 has officially begun. And then we're going to move into the sports world, starting off in college football, giving some quick recaps to the college football playoff semifinals as Notre Dame defeats Penn State in one of the best games I've ever seen. And then Ohio State defeats Texas. Then we'll give a little preview for the national championship game coming to you on Monday between Ohio State and Notre Dame. Then we'll move on to the NFL, as the Wildcard weekend in the NFL has officially come to an end. Now this weekend the divisional round starts, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Jayden Daniels, the rookie quarterback of the Washington Commanders, as his unprecedented rookie season continues, as the Commanders pick up a huge playoff win in Tampa Bay against a great Buccaneers team. And we're going to move or finish off in the sports world with some more Jimmy Butler talk, as the Jimmy Butler trade saga in Miami continues. The 7-game suspension Jimmy's been on is about to end. Actually, on Wednesday night, it will end against the Lakers. And then Friday, the Heat return home for their first home game since January 4th against the Denver Nuggets. And reports are stating that Jimmy is ready to rejoin the team. So things should be really interesting on this week's episode of the Flame Entertainment and Sports. Enjoy. Alright guys, so let's start off in the entertainment world, talking a little bit about Justin Bieber, as he recently unfollowed Usher. For those of you that don't know, Usher is known as the person who discovered Justin Bieber on YouTube, and he kind of, took him in and, helped him rise to stardom, I guess you could call it. There's been a lot of controversy over the years, ever since Usher's Super Bowl performance. I believe that was 2 Super Bowls ago, I want to say. Or was it the last Super Bowl? I can't remember exactly. But many people thought that Usher would be bringing Justin Bieber on as a special guest during that Super Bowl. I remember actually stating on the podcast, I believe, that I didn't think that Justin Bieber would want to perform with Usher, because I'm a big blind item guy. I read a lot of those blind items on crazydaysandnights.net, and NT Lawyer, he's known, as the blind item king, and he does a great job. So those of you who are interested in discovering blind items, make sure to head to crazydaysandnights.net. But yeah, since I'm a big blind item reader or listener for the last, 3 or 4 years, maybe, I've read a lot alleged, activity that's gone on over the years between Usher and Justin Bieber. So, I'm actually very happy about this news that Justin's decided to unfollow Usher. Basically, obviously this is all alleged. I don't have any proof. I'm not here to say, oh, I saw this or I saw that, or I have, evidence of this or that. But basically, I guess to put it in an easier way to explain. So, obviously we all know the alleged activities that Diddy did to Usher growing up. Well, basically, all the talk throughout these years has been that Usher did the same exact thing that was done to him by Diddy to Justin Bieber. So, yeah, I think this is a very exciting time. Maybe Justin's finally realizing, that these people have taken advantage of him for many years. And it goes beyond even Usher, because even Scooter Braun, who was Justin's, first manager, he recently actually deactivated his social media. So yeah, there's something going on with Justin, and I'm very happy. I feel like he's finding, he's trying to find better people to be around in his life, and perhaps, him being a new father, perhaps that's, giving him a new perspective that he wants to, change his life and turn it around so that he could be there for his son, and so that he could be there for his wife as well, Hailey Bieber. So yeah, I think this is great news. I think people should be happy that Justin unfollowed Usher. And yeah, for those of you that really want to know, extra details or alleged details, make sure to head to crazydaysandnights.net, because there's a lot of alleged, blind items on there a lot of bad stuff. Like I said, kind of what Diddy did to Usher is basically what Usher is alleged to have done to Justin Bieber, including many sexual acts, or making him do certain things with adults. And I don't want to get like too graphic on here, but yeah, it's a lot of evil and sad stuff, and it really gives you a different perspective in terms of even Justin Bieber. When we've seen him, these last couple of years, he's kind of looked depressed and skinny, and he's had a lot of issues with drugs and alcohol, allegedly, right, over the years. And then when you kind of put it all together in terms of like what he's gone through since he was a young boy, you kind of understand that he's traumatized and he's all messed up because of the things that people have done to him. But I'm hoping that this is a new page in Justin's life, and that he's able to realize what these people have done. I think it's gonna make him a better person, a better father, and a better husband. So I think this is great news. Any of you guys want to give your thoughts on any of these Usher and Justin Bieber allegations? Just let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts. But with that said, we're gonna move on now to our next topic in the entertainment world, and that is Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman. Of course, Sutton Foster, she's known for being a great, Broadway star. She's been in a couple, TV roles and movie roles as well. She's most known in TV for her role on Younger, the TV show where she starred alongside Hilary Duff for many years. But she's mostly known for, being basically Broadway royalty. Well, a couple of years ago, her and Hugh Jackman, of course, Hugh Jackman, he's known in Broadway, he's known in movies. Obviously, he's most known for portraying Wolverine for many, many years, and recently in the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie alongside his best friend Ryan Reynolds. And Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman, they started alongside each other in the Broadway show Music Man a couple years ago, and at that time they were both married. Over the last year, I would say there's been speculation that the two may possibly be a couple at one point. And now within the last 2 weeks, they've come out publicly twice as a couple. So they basically announced that they are dating. Last week, their first public spotting as a couple was in Santa Monica. I believe they were heading to get dinner at a restaurant over there. And then this week, actually, a couple of days ago, they were spotted at In-N-Out in the San Fernando Valley in California. And, we posted a video on the flame_ES on Instagram of them, kissing in the parking lot of the In-N-Out there in San Fernando Valley. Speaking of San Fernando in California, I do want to send all my well wishes and prayers to all the people who have suffered with these California wildfires. Like all the people who have lost their homes, all the people who have lost their lives, all the people who have lost their loved ones. Sending you all our best, and sending you guys a lot of extra prayers. And it's a sad time. It's sad to see people suffering over there. And something has to be done. To me, there's something fishy behind this. I don't know. Something has to be done there. But ultimately, I know God is with all of you guys over there in California, and it's only going to make the people and the state and all the cities there stronger than ever before. So wishing you all the best. But yeah, to get back to Sutton and Hugh. So yeah, now they've had two public outings as a couple. I would say in terms of the public, right? In terms of like public support for this relationship, I would say it's like 50-50. There's people who love it and who, have been wanting them to get together because a lot of people talk that they had a lot of good chemistry on stage in Music Man together. But then the other side, I understand as well. They're trying to figure out if Sutton and Hugh had an affair while they're on Broadway together, because as I said, they were both married at the time. Me personally, I don't have enough info or evidence as to what's going on here. Something I do want to throw out there, like I said, I don't know obviously I don't really officially know what's going on, but there's some speculation as well that this could be a PR. It could be PR for Hugh Jackman, because one of his best friends actually is Bryan Singer, who's a long time movie director, movie producer. I believe he produced like the X-Men movies with Hugh Jackman and stuff like that. Well, Bryan Singer is allegedly known as a big time, I don't know as a big time, allegedly known as a pedophile. He's known for allegedly grooming young actors in Hollywood, from Chase Crawford to Taylor Lautner, many more, to a lot of the guys that are on the Glee show. Like I said, this is all alleged. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a big blind item guy. Bryan Singer, there's no like charges against him, or he hasn't been arrested or accused of anything publicly, really. But a lot of people feel that Hugh may be doing this PR stunt here with Sutton Foster to, to keep his image as, that family man or romantic type of guy, in case anything breaks involving Bryan Singer, because Hugh is known as one of Bryan Singer's best friends in all of Hollywood. So I thought I would just throw that out there. Obviously, like I said, there's the side that believe the couple. There's the side that thinks they had an affair while on Broadway together, and then there's the side that think this is PR for Hugh. In terms of the PR for Sutton, I guess maybe being with a name like Hugh Jackman, perhaps if it is PR, perhaps she wants to like get bigger roles in Hollywood or something. I guess I could see it. Me personally, I have like zero. I have no gut feeling about this relationship. I want to believe it, especially because I'm a huge fan of Sutton Foster. So I wish her all the best and all the happiness she could get. It's cool. Actually, a year ago, she performed here in Fort Lauderdale. She had like a little like concert, and she did a great job. I had never seen her on Broadway, but I had followed her for a couple of years on Instagram, and I had always wanted to see her in person. And when I saw she was doing a show here in Fort Lauderdale, I was like, oh, let me go see it. And she did an amazing job. She put on a great show, and I hope to see her on a Broadway stage one day in person. But yeah, in terms of that relationship, if you guys have any other theories or any other thoughts, make sure to send them our way, and we'd love to discuss them with you and see what you guys are thinking about Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman. Then finally, we're gonna go to Dancing with the Stars. We haven't covered it on here in a couple weeks, but now that the tour has officially begun for 2025, we want to talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna pull up here the cities that Dancing with the Stars has gone to already. Unfortunately, the show was supposed to begin in Richmond, Virginia, but unfortunately, the show was not able to go on. At first, it was postponed and moved to the next night, but unfortunately, due to I believe it was like some water problems or something like that, there was some issues in the city. The show was postponed as a whole over there. So sending all our best to all the big fans over there in Richmond who are looking forward to seeing this show. Hopefully, you guys are able to see it at some point on this tour. But yeah, so the first official tour show began in Baltimore. It was on last Thursday, January 9th, so a week ago. It was in Baltimore. Then they had two shows in Connecticut. They had a show in New Jersey. And then their most recent show was in Maine. And then last night, they actually performed in Manchester, New Hampshire. And you guys, if you're listening to this on Thursday when it comes out, tonight they'll be performing in Boston, following by a second show on Friday night in Boston as well. And actually, they're going to be coming here, as they always do, to the Hard Rock Hotel here in Hollywood, in Miami. They're going to be coming here on Friday, February 28th, in case any of you are interested. So yeah, it's pretty cool. The tour started, and I love going. Thank God I've been able to go multiple times to this tour, and it's always a great time, and I feel like it gets better year in and year out. And something I wanted to mention really quick, we were talking about some alleged PR couple with Sutton and Hugh. Here's another alleged PR couple, Brooks Nader and Gleb Savchenko, who of course were partners on the most recent season of Dancing with the Stars. So Gleb is one of the pro dancers on tour, and I guess they had a break in between tour dates, and he went to New York City to visit Brooks, and they're spotted outside. Of course, they're doing a Pap Walk, or a paparazzi walk. For those of you who don't know what that is, basically, that's when a celebrity calls a paparazzi to take pictures of them basically walking in the streets of whatever city that they may be in. But yeah, guys, it's a little Pap Walk 101, if you want to call it that. For those of you that weren't familiar with that, now you know what it is. A lot of these celebrities do it. So maybe now you'll have like an awareness as to whether or not they call the paparazzis themselves, instead of just like going to criticize all these paparazzis. A lot of times these celebrities are actually calling them to take pictures of them, so that they're relevant and they stay in the spotlight within the pop culture world. But yeah, now we're gonna move on to some quick little stories here, the entertainment world, to finish off. So the Governor's Ball is a 3-day music festival that happens every year in New York City. This year will be occurring on June 6th, 7th, and 8th in New York at a park over there. And it's pretty cool. One of my favorite singers, you see her on the wall here right behind me, Olivia Rodrigo. She's going to be headlining on June 7th. Going to be headlining that day. So I thought it'd be really cool to mention that on here. Olivia's set to, do a lot of music festivals now in 2025. Obviously, she's coming off her biggest tour yet, the Guts World Tour in 2024. And now, yeah, she's going to be headlining a lot of music festivals, specifically outside of America. But this is, one that she's officially set for in New York City, June 7th. So for those of you interested, I would recommend, getting your tickets now before they sell out. I don't know. Obviously, I've never gone to this festival or purchased, so I don't know how the tickets work or how fast they, sell. But obviously, Olivia has a lot of fans, so I thought it'd be pretty cool, to mention that on here, that she's going to be headlining on Saturday, and it's pretty cool too. One of her best friends is Conan Gray, who's also a singer. He's going to be performing that day as well, so that's pretty cool for those two, best friends to be able to, perform at a big NYC music festival together. Then another thing to mention, so a couple of days ago, there's a TikTok that went viral. It got deleted. I was able to get a screen recording of it, and I posted it on the flame_ES on Instagram. A lot of people have interacted with it, liked it, shared it, saved it. So thank you all for the love on there on Instagram. And that clip is of Karan, Brar, and Josie Totah, who played. So Karan played Ravi on the Disney Channel show Jessie, and then Josie played Stuart on the Disney Channel show Jessie. For those of you who don't know, so I was a big Jessie fan. I was a big Disney Channel guy growing up, and Jessie's one of my favorite shows of all time on Disney Channel. For those of you that don't remember Stuart, he was like basically the kid with like the glasses on, kind of a nerdy character that was always with Sari. Him and Sari were like basically the same age. Then years, after Jessie, the actor that played Stuart on the show transitioned to a girl, and now her name is Josie Totah. So she posted a TikTok with Karan Brar, who played Ravi on the show, and it's a TikTok of them kissing. And yeah, so we posted that on Instagram. A lot of people have clicked on it, watched it, liked it, whatever it may be, and it's obviously going viral. A lot of people are talking about it. It is something I think that no one ever expected or would predict. But Josie did post another TikTok saying that they're not in a relationship. Simply they're just doing it for fun. Karan Brar also posted on his story that they're not in a relationship. They're simply for fun. So I think they're friends, just having a good time. I mean, good for them. But I just thought it would be interesting to at least mention it on here, because obviously it's something that has a lot of people talking. Then the wrap up here in the entertainment world. So I want to give a birthday shout out to Corey Borner, who's a big motivational influencer on Instagram and Twitter. Years ago in a high school football game, he got paralyzed, and he wasn't able to walk for a long time. Now recently he's been able to take his first steps, and he's a huge inspiration. You guys can follow him at Corey Borner 24, and happy birthday, Corey. Continue inspiring the world, and continue to find the way, man. Happy birthday. So make sure to go check him out on Instagram and TikTok, and Twitter at Corey Borner 24. That's COREYBORNER 24. But guys, it's gonna wrap it up for the entertainment portion of today's episode. Now let's move in to the sports world, and we're gonna be starting off with a recap of the college football playoff semifinals as Notre Dame beats Penn State, and they will be playing Ohio State in the national championship after the Buckeyes defeated the Texas Longhorns. Alright guys, so now to start off in the sports world, I'm going to be doing a quick little recap of the college football playoff semifinals, starting off with Thursday night's Orange Bowl game here from Miami, as the Notre Dame Fighting Irish defeated the Penn State Nittany Lions by a final score of 27-24. This was one of the best football games I've ever seen. It was super enjoyable because it was a battle between two teams that gave it their all and never gave up. And it was very much a game of runs. For example, the game started off 10-0 in favor of Penn State. It was second quarter with a little over 2 minutes left. Penn State had a 10-0 lead. Then, going into halftime, it was 10-3 as Notre Dame was able to, notch their first score of the game on the final play of the first half. Then we get into the second half and we see Notre Dame go on a run of their own as they take a 17-10 lead. So it was pretty crazy. So Penn State starts off on a 10-0 run. and then Notre Dame goes on a 17-0 run. So a 17-10 in the fourth quarter. Then Penn State regains the lead, and they go on another run of their own as they score 14 unanswered points to take a 24-17 lead. And then, yeah, with 4 minutes left, Notre Dame ties the game. And with 7 seconds left, Mitch Jeter hits a 41-yard field goal to help Notre Dame clinch their way into the national championship and, defeat Penn State by a final score of 27-24. But, yeah, this was just an incredible game overall. I picked Notre Dame to win it, so that was cool to see them win it. But with that said, if Penn State would have won, I would have been happy as well. What I love with both of these teams is, that they gave it their all. They kept fighting, and they never gave up. It was just one of those games where you got to have respect for both teams. And at the end of the day, one of them had to win, and one of them had to lose. But in my opinion, even Penn State, even with them losing, I don't see them as losers because they gave it their all, At the end of the day, Notre Dame just, happened to come out on top and make, those extra plays that, put them just a notch above Penn State. But, and I want to shout out Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman. 3 seasons in, what he's been able to do at Notre Dame is unbelievable. Obviously, they had a coach for a long time, Brian Kelly, who he's always gotten praised, and I've never really understood it. Now he's the coach at LSU. I think he's one of the most overpaid and overrated coaches in college football history. He's never even won a championship. He was at Notre Dame for over 10 years. He never won a championship. But then year in and year out, or in the offseason, you'd always hear about him in terms of like these elite college coaches. And then a couple years ago when he took the LSU job, everyone's like, oh, wow, LSU is going to be amazing now. And it's not to like hate on the guy. Obviously, I don't know him personally, but it's just confusing sometimes when certain coaches are, praised above other ones, and really look at the list of accomplishments. You're like, wait, why do people keep praising this guy like he's one of the best ever? So yeah, Marcus Freeman in 3 years, he's done way more than Brian Kelly ever did there. So shout out to Marcus Freeman. You can tell he's one of those guys that his players love. Like he gets along with them, but you could also tell that they respect him and that they'll do anything in their power to to help their team win on the field. And I think there's a big difference in terms of, because you have coaches that they get along with their players, but then you go on the field and they do these mistakes. They do all false starts and holdings over and over again. But then you have the coaches who they don't get along with the players, but they just like those guys that scream like a Belichick or a Brian Flores, that they'll get along with you, but then they expect you to do amazing on the field. I feel like Marcus Freeman is like the perfect in between of both of those personality traits within a head coach. Like he gets along with the guys, but he also demands and expects excellence from each player on that team. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this run that Notre Dame has been on. Especially as a Miami fan, I've never rooted for Notre Dame in my life. I've never even rooted for Penn State, for Ohio State. And look, Penn State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State were 3 of the last 4 teams standing this year, and I have nothing but respect for them. But yeah, Marcus Freeman's done a tremendous job. Now they have an opportunity to be the champions, right, of the college football world, and that'll get us into the other college football game, which happened on Friday night between the Texas Longhorns and the Ohio State Buckeyes, as the Buckeyes win by a final score of 28-14. Ohio State was pretty much in command of this one from start to end. Obviously, the score could kind of tell you a different story if you didn't really watch the game, and I understand that. But yeah, it was one of those games where it started off 7-0 Ohio State. Then it was a 14-7 game at the half. Then Texas tied the game at 14. So, you're in the third quarter. It's 14-14. I'm sure if you're looking at the box score, you weren't able to tune in. You're like, oh, wow, what a game. But in my opinion, it kind of felt the whole time that Ohio State would eventually pull away. It just felt like not just that they were superior, like, on the field, but, like, you could just tell even coaching-wise they were more prepared. I just feel like they were making, like, little mistakes that they don't really make. So therefore, that kind of kept Texas in the game, and not to take away from Texas. They had an incredible year. 2 years in a row in the in the semifinals, right? In the college football playoff. But not so they've done an amazing job. Steve Sarkisian, he got there a couple of years ago, and he's completely helped turn around this program, this proud program that was down in the dumps for a long time. Now they're back to that national prominence that they once were. part of. And, so they've had 2 great years in a row, but I just felt like Ohio State would eventually pull away, and they did. In the fourth quarter, they outscored the Longhorns 14-0, including a strip fumble recovery for a touchdown that eventually, helped helped the Buckeyes clinch their way into the national championship. And yeah, now Notre Dame and Ohio State will battle off. In my opinion, these have been the two best teams throughout the whole college football playoff. So I think this is going to be an incredible matchup. It'll occur on Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And I think it's going to be a hell of a battle. You have Notre Dame with arguably the best defense in the country. And same thing goes with Ohio State. They have arguably the best defense in the country. Then you have two offenses who not many people thought of, or who you could call kind of late bloomers as the season went on. You kind of saw these offenses pick up little by little. Even both quarterbacks as the seasons have gone on, they've gotten better. They've played their best as, the biggest games have come. They continue to progress and get better. Riley Leonard in Notre Dame and Will Howard of Ohio State. And then you think of the running games of both of these teams as well. The offensive lines are both amazing. So yeah, I just think this is going to be a clash of titans, man. I really do think this is going to be a hell of a game. I gave my prediction last week. I had Notre Dame beating Ohio State in the national championship, heading into the semifinals last week. And I'm sticking with that prediction. I have Notre Dame, coming out on top against Ohio State. But like I said, I do think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think it's going to be a close game, and it could be one of the best, national championship games, or one of the most competitive title games that we've seen in a very long time, in my opinion. Obviously, we weren't able to bring on our guy Paul this week, but if he's able to, record something prior to Monday's game, stay tuned for that. We'll be sure to post it, as a YouTube short. We'll post a clip on Instagram. We'll post a little bonus episode about it on the, the podcast feed. So stay tuned for that in case Paul's able to record something. Obviously, we've had him on all year, and this is the final week of the season. So we'd love to get him to do a little preview of this title game. But regardless, I wanted to make sure to do a preview of my own because I very much enjoyed these semifinal games. And like I said, I've enjoyed watching these two teams, battle their ways into the championship. So yeah, congrats to Notre Dame and Ohio State. And I'm super excited for this game. If you guys have any thoughts on this national title game coming on Monday night, make sure to send it our way. We'd love to hear what you think, or to see if you have any predictions for this upcoming title game. All right, guys. So next up, we're gonna stay in the football world, but we're gonna move from college to the professional world, as the first round of the NFL playoffs came to a close on Monday night, and we're gonna give a little recap as to how the wildcard weekend went, and we're gonna give a little preview and some predictions for this upcoming divisional round starting on Saturday. So yeah, just to give a little recap for you all. So in the AFC, the Houston Texans defeated the LA Chargers, the Baltimore Ravens defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Buffalo Bills defeated the Denver Broncos. Then in the NFC, we saw the Philadelphia Eagles take down the Green Bay Packers, the Washington Commanders take down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the LA Rams take down the Minnesota Vikings. So as for how I did with my predictions, I went, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I went 4-2 on wildcard weekend. I'm happy with it. I lost the Tampa game. I thought the Buccaneers, they were actually, for those of you who didn't listen, I gave, my predictions for the whole playoff. I actually had Tampa coming out of the NFC and going into the Super Bowl. So, my NFC champion is down. And then in the AFC, the matchup I lost, I had the Chargers defeating the Texans. But, the Texans dominated that game, specifically in the second half. In the first half, it was a game where both defenses were doing great, but both offenses kept turning over the ball. And then ultimately in the second half, the Chargers continued to turn over the ball. Houston cut down on the mistakes, and they're able to, seal the deal and have a big-time win. Now Houston will move on to Kansas City Saturday at 4 o'clock on ESPN as, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, start their quest to become the first team in NFL history to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. That's my prediction. I think the Chiefs are going to do it again. I think they're going to make history as the first, team to ever achieve this feat in NFL history. So yeah, that game I have Kansas City beating Houston. Then to stick in the AFC, the final game of divisional round Sunday, I believe at 6:30 on CBS with Tony Romo and Jim Nantz on the call. We have a tremendous game that people are excited for. We have the Baltimore Ravens heading into Buffalo to take on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So the Ravens are coming off a huge victory over their division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They absolutely dominated that game. I don't think it really surprised many people because when you look at the Steelers, the way they ended the season, their offense was just absolutely terrible. And then the Ravens are arguably the hottest team coming into the playoffs. And then in terms of Buffalo, their game with Denver, it was crazy. Like Denver came out, started off 7-0. Bo Nix, the rookie, led them down the field. And Buffalo ended the game on a 31-0 run, winning the game 31-7. I think that one kind of went how we all expected as well. But hell of a season for the Denver Broncos, one of the most improved franchises in the league. Sean Payton should definitely be in the discussion for Coach of the Year. And in terms of the other, what do you call it? In terms of the Steelers, it's going to be an interesting offseason for Pittsburgh. There could be a lot of change. A lot of speculation of perhaps them and Mike Tomlin agreeing to move on. I think that's all BS. I think Mike Tomlin is going to stay there for the rest of his career. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. He's never had a losing season. Every single year, he's never had a losing season. Regardless of who he has out there, whoever you give him, he doesn't complain. And he finds a way to get the best out of each and every one of his players. So I think the Steelers will be fine. Then the other AFC matchup, like I said, Houston, they defeated the Chargers. The Chargers, though, even though they lost this game, I do think it was an improved season. I think Coach Harbaugh coming in there from Michigan, I thought he did a hell of a job improving this team. Obviously, not the outcome, right? The ideal outcome that any fan base or any organization wants, but I do think there was improvements because there were a couple games this year that the Chargers kind of won in the last minute or, kind of had a couple clutch wins, and they've been known over the last, 6 or 7 years for usually losing those type of clutch games. So I think it was an improvement regardless of the playoff exit in a wild card round. But I think the Chargers should be proud, and I think it's going to be an interesting offseason. I think their main thing has to be focusing on improving the defensive line, but also improving the receiving core. Cause I feel like they have one of the worst receiving cores in all of football, aside from Ladd McConkey, who had a tremendous rookie season. I think he had over 100 receiving yards in his first playoff game. So McConkey, hell of a player, but they got to help out and bring some other guys alongside him. Perhaps in the draft they could bring in some other guys and build a young receiving core there to help Herbert and Harbaugh flourish in LA. Now to move on to go back to the Ravens and Bills. So this is going to be a tremendous matchup. It's probably the matchup that most people are looking forward to. In the NFL, put it as the last matchup of the division round, which makes sense because these are two teams that a lot of people have as Super Bowl favorites, and understandably so. They've been two of the best teams in football, and most importantly, two of the hottest teams coming into the playoffs. It's hard for me to go against the Bills, but I gotta stay with my original prediction. Like I had this matchup in my prediction, I had Baltimore winning. I'm gonna stay with that. Like I said, it's hard for me to go against the Bills in the playoffs. They're so damn dominant and good. But I just feel like the Ravens this year are different. And I think they're going to go into Highmark Field in Buffalo and defeat the Bills. So I have the Chiefs and the Ravens moving on to the AFC Championship. Then the NFC, in the NFC side of the playoff bracket, the Green Bay Packers were defeated by the Philadelphia Eagles, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago. It wasn't a shock to me the way the game went. Like the Eagles pretty much dominated the whole game. It was a great a win is a win. A playoff win is a playoff win at the end of the day. But there was nothing really that stood out to me about the Eagles. They didn't really impress me, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. I feel as the competition gets tighter and you want to move on, to the playoffs, you face off against tougher competition. I feel like you got to do a lot more on the offensive side of the ball. The defense is good, but I just feel we got to see a little more firepower from that offense. And, but hey, credit to them for getting the win. In terms of Green Bay, I know a lot of people are hating on Jordan Love. They're hating on the Packers right now. I don't really understand it. I mean, Jordan Love, he's 2 seasons in as a starter in the NFL. I think he's done a tremendous job. He played this game hurt. He played the majority of this season hurt. And then his receiving core, a lot of young talent on there, but most of the time they're injured. They're not able to, be used, and so they're kind of lacking in that area. But I feel it's more of a health thing rather than a talent thing. So yeah, I think Green Bay will be fine. But yeah, and then the other matchups in the NFC, the Buccaneers lost to the Commanders, as I said. And I want to talk about Jayden Daniels. I think Jayden Daniels is one of the best rookie quarterbacks we've ever seen. And it started from week 1 all the way to, his first career playoff game. You just see this like calmness and composure. It looks like he's been in the league for 8 or 9 years rather than, this being his rookie season. So I think Jayden Daniels is something special. And I think, the sky's the limit for this guy. And specifically, I just think mentally, he's just prepared for the moment. He believes in himself. He's a team first guy. And I think what him and Dan Quinn are building there in Washington is something special. So congratulations to them on their first playoff win in a long time. They did defeat the Bucks, who I had, going to the Super Bowl, as I mentioned earlier. I'm a big Baker Mayfield guy. I really enjoy watching the Buccaneers. Unfortunately, Buccaneers in this one, they did what they did a lot of times this year, which was do a lot of stupid mistakes, a lot of false starts, a lot of just like unnecessary errors. And I think that's something that they really got to clear up and focus on in the offseason. Again, more discipline. I don't know if it's to add some more assistant coaches to help Todd Bowles out, or to add some, different type of players who, maybe have higher IQs, because I feel like Tampa left a lot of games this year. They were for the grabbing. They left them due to, stupid and inexcusable mistakes. But with that said, I'm not taking away from Washington, because they've been, one of the most disciplined teams in all of football. And, with a rookie quarterback, first brand new head coach in Dan Quinn, brand new offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. And then you look at the defense. They had arguably the worst defense in the league last year. Now they have one of the top defenses in all of football. That defensive line is just sick. With those two Alabama guys, Jonathan Allen, Payne. I can't remember his first name. I was gonna say Cameron Payne, but that's the basketball player. But Payne, Allen, and those guys in the line are doing a tremendous job. Then you have the veteran and future Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion Bobby Wagner, leading the linebacking core. They have some really good defensive backs, some good safeties, super underrated guys out there. And I think Washington, they're a sneaky team to look at. They're young, they're hungry, and they're really playing right now with a mindset where they have nothing to lose, because all they've done this year is exceed expectations. So I think that's a dangerous thing when you're playing against a team like this in the playoffs. Then the other NFC wildcard matchup was the final one. Oh, no, not final one. It was the Sunday night. Oh, no, it was the final one on Monday night, as the LA Rams defeated the 14-win Minnesota Vikings. I picked the Rams to win. I have them going to the NFC Championship. And, so I wasn't surprised by the result, but they absolutely dominated the Minnesota Vikings. Matthew Stafford, another legendary playoff performance. Then that defense, fourth youngest in the league, led by, rookie defensive coordinator Chris Shula. First playoff game as a defensive coordinator, he absolutely killed it. They tied an NFL playoff record for most sacks in a game with 9. They impressed me. Their line was incredible. Starting off with Jared Verse, who will probably be the defensive rookie of the year. Then those other guys on the line as well. Their linebacking core looked great. The defensive backs, which are super young, including Miami Hurricane rookie Cam Kinchins out there, they all look great. And they're a team like Washington as well, because they're super young and hungry, and exceeding expectations. But they also have that experience with Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay and Cooper Kupp, and some veterans there on that Rams squad. So I'm super excited for the Rams. I can't wait to see what else they do. And yeah, now to move into the divisional games in the NFC. So to stick with the Rams, so the Rams will be heading out to Philadelphia, take on the Eagles. I have the Rams winning this one. As I did in my original predictions, I just think the Rams right now overall, they're firing on all cylinders, and I think overall they're playing better right now than the Eagles are as a whole. I'm not trying to take away what the Eagles have done. They've had a great season, but I just feel like the Rams are more made for the playoffs than the Eagles are right now. Then the other matchup is the Washington Commanders heading into Detroit. Most people are picking Detroit, and I understand it. They had a tremendous season, 15 wins. They're kind of America's team, if you want to call it that. A lot of people are rooting for them. Let's say if your team's not in the playoffs, it's probably the team that most people are rooting for. And I understand, they're a likable team. Dan Campbell's a likable guy. He's done a tremendous turnaround with this Detroit Lions organization. But yeah, with that said, I think this is going to be a closer game than many people expect. In terms of predictions for this one, call me crazy. I'm actually going to go with the Washington Commanders in this one. I just think cause they just have that mindset where, they have nothing to lose. In Detroit, when you think about it, as good as their season's been, they kind of have everything to lose, because most people are expecting them to be, in the to win the Super Bowl, or at minimum, at least go to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to go with Washington and LA here in the NFC. And as I said, in the AFC, I'm going with the Chiefs and the Ravens. I think it's going to be a fun divisional round, and I can't wait to see what happens. But yeah, with that said, now we're going to move on to the basketball world. talk a little bit about, the Jimmy Butler trade saga here in Miami. As I mentioned last week, Jimmy requested a trade, and he's completely disrespected the Heat publicly. And, his 7-game suspension came to an end last night, actually, when the Heat took on the LA Lakers. And, on Friday, the Heat returned for their first home game since January 4th against the Denver Nuggets. And our reports are indicating that Jimmy's set to rejoin the team, and I guess he'll play in this game on Friday. We're just going to have to wait and see if that's the case. But, yeah, I just want this to come to an end because all it is a distraction. But with that said, that's really all I have to say in terms of Jimmy. But for the Heat themselves, they're 3-3 currently without Jimmy. They lost to the LA Clippers a couple of nights ago. They played the LA Lakers last night. I don't know the result yet because I'm recording this on Wednesday. You're listening to this on Thursday. But hopefully they end the West Coast trip with a big win against the Lakers, and come into Friday feeling hot against the Denver Nuggets here at home at the Kaseya Center. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up, guys, our sports segment or section for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to give me any of your predictions for the national championship or for the NFL playoffs, or if you want to give me your take on the Jimmy Butler situation here in Miami, just let me know. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Flam Entertainment and Sports. Before I let you go, I forgot to mention this in the entertainment portion, but congratulations to Brittany Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes on the birth of their third child, their second daughter. Congrats to them. Wishing you guys all the best. But yeah, I wanted to make sure to mention that. I forgot to say it before. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to share it with anyone you think would, enjoy hearing about any of these topics. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure to like, share it, whatever it may be. Send us your thoughts. You could hit us up on Instagram at @theflame_ES. And yeah, I just hope you guys, enjoyed this episode. Make sure to, keep it locked in there on Instagram at @theflame_ES and on TikTok as well. And with all that said, till next time, everyone, take care.